Hey everybody, how's it going? Happy Saturday, welcome. Hope you're all having a wonderful day or evening, depending on where you are in the world. Hey Felix, how are folks doing today? Can I just get a confirmation in chat that my microphone is working? Last time I did like the first 5 minutes and my mic was still muted, so I wanna double, triple check. Can y'all hear me? Loud and clear. Very nice. Wonderful. Cool. Welcome. Hey, Goldfish. Alright. So, some of you folks may have been here last week. We did the Shadow Temple workshop. This week we're going to be working on the Fire Temple. I worked hard to get that hash just so. I had to roll it hundreds of times until my luck worked out for it. So we got the quintuple hammers in the hash there. So just before we start, let's take a look at the equipment I gave us for this. Fire Temple, people always think of the hammer as like the thing you need for fire, and of course you do need the hammer, but there are a lot of other items that are logically relevant for fire, including the bow, strength, hookshot. It's useful to have magic and Pharaoh's Wind. They can help to speed things up a little bit. I did not give us the long shot, so just I'll be upfront. If you're here for a pixel shot tutorial, you're going to be disappointed. I am not going to be doing any pixel shot today for the simple reason that I've never pulled off pixel shot. I know that it is doable on keyboard. I've heard that FMZ can do it. I don't know how to do it. This is going to be a lot more focused on like beginner friendly, like let's get good at Fire Temple. There are pixel shot tutorials out there if you want to go look them up on YouTube. By all means, let's take a look. So let's jump in. Last week when we did Shadow, we started like right on the warp pad outside of Shadow as a way of pointing out, hey, this is like a logical quirk. This is one way you can get in there. You cannot spawn outside of Fire Temple on the warp pad down there. That's not a spawn that is available, I guess. So in order to get there, you're going to need Bolero, or you're going to need Hookshot or Hovers, plus some way to access the crater, which is usually bombs, but could be bow, could be strength. One way, though, is if you're up here and you have hover boots, there is a way to get down to the bottom of the crater from there. So I thought we'd start up here. And while we're here, probably a good idea to spend a bit of time talking about the heat timer. So I only gave 7 hearts to try to simulate like you're going through fire relatively early in the seed. You only have a limited number of hearts. You gotta do things quickly. So the way the heat timer works, for every heart container you have, you get 8 seconds, and each quarter heart is worth 2 seconds. So if you take damage, that's going to reduce that heat timer by a little bit. Double defense, as you can see, doesn't affect that at all. So is that a scale? Maybe we'll have to grab it. I did also give us the Goron Tunic, so if you're worried about timing, you can go ahead and equip that, or if you're about to die, that's fine. I figured while we're in the neighborhood, I would just quickly show a couple things in the volcano, including peeking the heart container in this wall here. So for this, you want to get right in the corner. We're going to roll, and then at a certain point in Link's roll, we're going to press the C target. Oh, Navi getting in my way. There we go. So this one can be hard to see. As soon as you turn far enough to the right, it kind of disappears. So the strategy is to go down and then look over. And we can see it's a something. Looks like a strength upgrade. So the timing on that is pretty precise. It's sort of when his boots touch the ground again. So, like, not when they're over his head, but right when they get back on the ground, or maybe just slightly before. To get over here, we can use the hover boots. You don't even need to roll. You can just run right across with the hover boots. So, if you're coming from the top and you have hovers, it's pretty simple to do that. As for grabbing this thing on top of the volcano, this is a trick that... Correct me if I'm wrong, Felix, but this is a trick that's enabled for Scrubs Season 3, right? Like, the heart piece on the volcano with hovers. If you know what you're aiming for, you can just roll it. Oh, see, I don't know what I'm aiming for. I always use a setup for this. So there's a very simple setup for this that you don't need to rely on getting the angle right, because the setup gives you the angle. Right over here outside the Goron City entrance, there's this little wall. You can see it's got two different angles, kind of like the one in the Deku basement. You want the one that's like more flush with Goron City. Get right in the corner there. Equip your hover boots, and you can just back walk right across. Works every time. Oh, Scrubs is exactly the same tricks as Weeklies. Alright, cool. Alright, so let's hop on into the Fire Temple. I'm just going to change my equips. I usually have things on different buttons, and I'm going to mess up. Vanilla Bolero. Oh yeah, I meant to talk about this in terms of coming down here without taking any damage. So, it's a long fall, and if you just drop, I think it does like a full heart of damage if you just drop all the way down, but there's an easy way to avoid it. All you want to do is, when you jump, don't hold forward, and then, of course, I messed up the angle. When you jump, you don't hold forward, and then towards the bottom, you hold forward to grab the ladder. That's that. Alright, so if you come in here with the hammer, you've got two options initially. You can do these rooms over here, or you can do this room at the top. If you're in go mode, or if you know the Fire Temple is foolish, my preference is to do this one at the top first in case it's the boss key. It saves you a bunch of time. Otherwise, though, it is a little bit faster to do this bottom loop first, and then to go up and do the one near the boss door. One thing that you're going to want to do as well, if you have Big Goron Sword, is actually you're going to want to unequip it for the Flare Dancer fight. The Flare Dancer and Ganon are the only two enemies in the game that are more vulnerable to Master Sword than to the Big Goron Sword. I don't know who decided that, but that's the way it is. Just going to make a save state here real quick. So the fastest way to do this room is with quick spins, which I can't do, so I have a different strategy. If you hit the floor with the hammer, all of these little torch slugs, they're called, will flip over and they'll just stay there indefinitely. And that's pretty quick. The fastest thing is to lure everything to the center of the room and just quick spin until they're all dead. One thing that often messes people up, and I'll come back and show you, this one piece that's right near the door, I find if you come into this room too quickly, oh, well, he didn't that time, but he often will, like, run away down the hall. So my strategy for dealing with that is to sort of hug the left wall and not, like, roll too many times, maybe just once, and that draws his attention. Yeah, I hate when that guy goes down the hallway, because then, like, you gotta backtrack for him. It can cost a good amount of time. So, if you're not too quick coming into the room, and if you stay sort of to the left of that hall, that, in my experience, often will keep him close to you. Alright, so in the next room, there's one of these like-likes. If you roll forward, and then hookshot him, stuns him. I guess I didn't have a jump slash door, but if you have a jump slash door, one of those would be. Alright, so the Flare Dancer fight, the quick way to do it, it relies on using power crouch stabs, which is a crouch stab that stores the value of whatever your last attack was. So if your last attack was a Master Sword jump slash, then crouch stabbing does the same damage as that. And that's true even if you switch weapons. So if I equip the Big Goron Sword, it would do Master Sword damage, and if I equip the hammer, it also is going to do Master Sword damage. So every time I do a crouch stab, it's like jump slashing with the Master Sword. The hammer, though, also will make the walls shake. So it's doing sort of two things at once, and we can abuse that property to quickly defeat the Flare Dancer without having to switch back and forth between weapons. So the crouch stab with the hammer here will knock down the Flare Dancer, and then the crouch stab to the body of it will do Master Sword damage. So that lets us get through this fight really quickly, and you don't have to switch back and forth, you don't have to do any jump slashing at him. It's by far the fastest and easiest way. While he's doing his death animation, you can climb up here, as long as you climb near the corners. There's like a ring of fire that covers the middle part of each side, but right at the corners there's a place to climb. It doesn't save much time in this fight, but in the second Flare Dancer fight, at the top of Fire Temple, it's a lot faster if you're able to grab that corner before the cutscene starts. So one thing that makes Fire Temple really interesting is the key logic. So we didn't get any keys in those two hammerlock checks. We need a key to go deeper into the temple. There's only one more check. So the next check is either going to be a small key or it's going to be a boss key. And that's something that really makes Fire interesting. Yeah, those are pretty nice arrows. Something that really does make Fire interesting is the possibility at any time, I think there's 5 different places in the temple where you can be key locked from further progression. You have to go and beat the boss before you can go deeper. So that results in a lot of like, well, should I bail? Should I go back in? And that's part of why Deep Fire is so notorious, is it's like the worst place for items to be when you have an early boss key, because nobody wants to go back in. So we'll see whether we have a small key or the boss key, whether we're going to be doing full Vajra right away or not. One thing I want to show off in here, if you just jump, Link doesn't have enough momentum to make it to this platform just with a regular roll and jump. He'll grab it and then climb. It's a little slow. Same with going back here, he doesn't have quite enough momentum. However, if you do a well-timed jump slash, when Link is just past the peak of his jump, you can make it. Now, this seems like a little small thing, like why are you worrying about optimizing? You're going to save a second or whatever. But with the heat timer in here, you might only have 24 seconds to make it in and out of the room. So being able to do it as fast as possible, optimizing a couple seconds here and there, can be the difference between dying and not dying. So it's a good thing to try out. Of course, if you have the hover boots, it's no problem. But if you don't have the hovers, you're just coming in here with nothing. Doing that jump slash can get you across just that little bit faster. If you press roll right away there, you don't talk to the big or the little Goron guy. Yeah, if you roll too late, you're gonna talk to him. It's gonna slow you down. So we got a small key. We're going deeper. Now we do need 2 more small keys if we want to continue up the elevator. So in this next room, we're either gonna find 2 small keys or 1 small key and the boss key. Both are possible. If you're low on hearts, those guys will usually attack you as you run across here, so they drop hearts sometimes. It's not super consistent. Going left is the best thing to do here because you have a clear path. And you can get over here without taking any damage. This room is in logic without Goron Tunic. Everything on the first floor except for Volvagia is in logic without the Goron Tunic. So you can be expected to come and do these checks with just 3 hearts. Yeah, so if we did get a boss key in the next check, that does have some serious implications. Felix is right. So that means that hover boots are logically required for the boss. Because that gap is not reachable to the boss door without hover boots, a boss key in the next check would mean that you are logically expected to have the hover boots to beat Fire Temple. Now, there is a way around that. We're going to look at that whenever we do find the boss key. But that would mean that everything deeper in Fire also is locked behind the hover boots. So if you're just missing hover boots, you know, hey, I can just abandon the rest of Fire. It's all hovers locked anyway. We'll see what we get anyway. I'm just going to make a quick save state here. I do want to show while we're in the neighborhood, there is a skull up there. Logically expects you to have Song of Time. There is a quick way to get it. I don't think this comes up very often in Scrub Steeds, but I'll show it off anyway because I like this setup. It's easy. So you just want to get right up against the wall here. If you're rolling, you shouldn't be moving forward. I do a backflip, side hop left, right, and then without letting go of target, I press roll. You see that scoots Link a little bit to the right. Just aim a little to the right, and then hold up. Super easy, very repeatable. That gets you in here to get that skull down there, which is a bit of a pain to grab, so I'm not gonna go all the way down there. But I'll just show that one more time. Get right in the corner here. Backflip, left, right, neutral roll, look a little bit to the right, and hold up. No problem. Alright, so we're going to go across now. There's two ways to do this. One is the safe, slow way. We'll wait for this platform to come back. If you have 4 hearts or more, you should be able to make it across without ever touching the lava. And that will preserve your hearts for the next room, where you usually need like about 40 seconds or so to safely make it to the top. So you can see I've still got over 20 seconds left, plenty of time to get across. There is another way to do this if you have Goron Tunic or a ton of hearts and you don't really care about taking damage. You target against here, you're going to side hop right twice. We're just going to backwalk across the lava. Once I pass this platform here, 3 more side hops, and you see I barely took any damage there. So that's much faster. If health isn't a concern, or if you have the big Goron Tunic, backwalking all the way across the room saves a bunch of time. So, are we fighting Volvagia or not? Again, rolling right away there lets you not talk to the Goron. Looks like we're going deeper. Alright, I'm going to switch back to the Kakiri Tunic. So like I said, 40 seconds is like, you've got time. You're probably going to have like 4 or 5 seconds to spare, so I came out of here with 48. We'll see what kind of time I have left here. I do a little setup here. I do 2 side hops, a side roll, and a neutral roll. I find this puts me in a good little position. If you grab this fence right at the top, it's often hard to avoid targeting those keys. Like if you grab it right at the ledge and you don't do any climbing, I find anyway, that's when I'm most likely to target the keys. So I like to grab it a little bit lower. Today they decided to bother me. Yeah, and you can see I had 12 seconds left there. So with 40 seconds, I would have had like 3 or 4. So 5 hearts or more, you're gonna have time if you move effectively. Obviously, more is better. Oops. I do want to show this little movement. It's a small optimization, but you can side hop up rather than doing this little climb. It's just a little bit faster. So here is where strength becomes a factor. This block requires at least 1 strength upgrade to push. In vanilla, they expect you to push it all the way down, and then climb up onto that thing, and then climb a ladder and whatever. You don't necessarily always have strength when you come in here, and so there's 2 ways around that. One using a ground jump, and one there's a glitchless jump. I'm going to show both of those. For anyone who's not entirely comfortable doing a ground jump, I'll show you my easiest method for doing this. Not mine originally, but in my opinion the easiest setup. What you're going to do is pull a bomb, drop it with a shield, crouch stab, target, and press A. Sounds like a lot. It's 5 things. They all happen really quickly. So it's bomb, shield, stab, target, A. Yeah, plenty of time. And then you do the backflip, and you grab the thing. So if you're able to push this, you push it forward 1, it won't set off this crystal switch when you do it. However, if you don't have strength, you can do a ground jump without setting off the crystal switch. You want Link to be over here with his right boot almost off the thing. Oh, little too far. Still a little too far, really. Okay, I guess his right boot is mostly on the thing then. There we go. That should be fine. So that... Oh my goodness. That, I guess, was not far enough away. So that does still store a ground jump. But now we have to wait for the timer to expire to drop another bomb. I thought that it was... You have to wait for the bomb to be over your head. Thanks, Felix. There we go. That's weird that changes the actual positioning there. Huh. The more you know. So yeah, you can do a ground jump right there at the corner. There is a glitchless way to do this. I remember once I was in a race where I didn't know this setup, and there was an out-of-logic bomb bag deeper in fire that would have let me win by a lot. And so after the race, I sat down and I learned this strat, and it's come up like once since. It's not super useful, but I'll show you anyway. You want to get right in this corner. I do a side hop, and then I do a crouch stab while holding left. So that's going to scoot Link over just a little bit. You can backflip or sidewalk all the way to the wall. Reposition so you're looking just a little bit to the right. I'm going to hold forward, and while I'm in the air, I'm going to hold left. Oh, I held left too soon. So we'll try this again. Like that. Doesn't come up very often, but when it does, it's really useful. Like if you're up here without bombs, or if you don't have a shield, and you don't have strength, you're probably chasing away the hero hint. Maybe you should have waited a little bit to come to fire until you were more well equipped, but it can pay off situationally. So coming into this room here, what you want to do is hold right away. You want to, like, as soon as we're going through the door, I'm already holding right. The boulders always start in the same positions and move at the same speeds, so there's a consistent path through them without getting hit. So you saw with holding right, I had plenty of time to get over here before they showed up. The Stone of Agony. Alright, so I need a small key to leave this room. So coming from here, you want to go left here, hug the wall to avoid that boulder. And when you hit about here, you can pull a bomb, and it'll go off right when you reach this wall. Come on. My timing is messed up because I didn't grab it, but hopefully we'll make it. I got hit. So those boulders' positions are super consistent. They're going to be exactly the same place every time. So by going the same path every time, you're able to miss them. So here again, we might be locked out by the boss key. If we don't get a boss key, then we're going to get a small key. Those are the only two things that we could find here, because we need a key to progress any further into the temple. And it's once again we're bailed out. So again, if that had been a boss key, we would have to go and fight Volvagia, and there's no quick way back here. So everything past this, we're probably going to be orphaning. That's part of what makes fire such a pain of a temple. So we're not out of the woods yet either, because if this next chest isn't a small key, then once again we're going to have to go and fight Volvagia. So this room, it's easy to fall, very easy to fall. If that happens, if we were to fall here, I hope we don't fall. Oh no, I hope I don't fall. Oh, I fell. There's two ways we can get back. One is if you have FW, you can cast FW and it'll put you back at the door up there. If you don't though, we can use this block right here. When you grab it, it goes up, and then when it comes back down, it crushes you. You void out, and you wind up right back up here. So if you do happen to fall, that's by far the fastest way to get back. But do your best not to fall. It does definitely waste some time. But also, like I said, if you have FW, it's no problem. So, are we going to be fighting Volvagia now? No. Once again, we're bailed out. Alright, we'll keep going. For me, that's the worst place to find the boss key. And of course, if you have the hover boots in here, this room is not a big deal. You can very, very easily move back and forth through it. Alright. So I'm gonna pause the emulator here for a second. So there's a little bubble, I think is the name of the enemy, and it's going to come bouncing up over here. The way to avoid it is you want to go right for this pillar sort of just to the right of it. It looks like it'll stop you from moving, but it doesn't. And also a jump slash in midair, same as what we saw in the first room, will let you get onto the next platform without grabbing it. So those two things will let you go a little faster. So we'll resume. So you see the bubble didn't hit me. If I'd been further to the left, it would have knocked me down. And if I hadn't done that jump slash, I probably wouldn't have grabbed, or I probably would have grabbed the thing rather than landing on it. Just want to point out as well, you can grab the fence over here. So that can be the logical way to get to that map chest down there. So if you don't have a bow, that chest can still be in logic. It can even have your first logical bow. So that's a possibility as well. Did Doodle forget about that fence, or did he not know, Felix? Oh man, I've always wanted to have a check named after me, but also, like, you only get a check named after you when you really screw up. Didn't know. Wow, interesting. That was a good race. I remember that. So with these platforms in here, if you have the hover boots, nice and easy to get across. I'm gonna kill this guy because he causes some lag. And that seems so long ago. So yeah, hover boots, nice and easy to get across here. If you don't have hover boots, then you can jump. But very often you're going to grab, and it's a little slower. It's also a little risky because if you get hit by a boulder, you might fall. So you can also jump slash. It's very much the same thing we were looking at in that first room near Volvagia, in the last room. When Link is past the peak of his jump, you want to do the jump slash. The risk, though, is that if you miss, you fall down. So do what's consistent for you. Definitely, like, it doesn't cost a lot of time to do the little climbs, and if you're careful about your timing, you're not going to get hit by a boulder. However, if you find you are able to get the jump slash consistently, then it is going to save you a little bit of time. And of course, if you have the hover boots, then that's going to be the thing that you do because it's 100% safe. Alright, so we're going to need one more key to move forward again. Don't want to get key locked out. Although this is a much better place to get key locked out because we're about to open the shortcut here. Yeah, Deku is open, so that's the new part of the meme percent as far as I'm concerned. Kakiri Sword deserves a spot in meme percent. Hot dog, I'm a winner. Alright, so the fastest way to get up from here, if you have Pharaoh's Wind, is to cast it and then immediately warp back. That'll put you at the last door that you came through, so that's the door at the top of the maze there. You can climb up if you don't have it, like it's not much slower, but if you have it, you may as well use it. So, if this was a normal seed, you would need to go all the way to Lake Hylia and talk to, what's his name? Yeah, that is... I probably should have shown that off, Felix. Yeah, that saves, like, a very small amount of time, but yeah, if you cast FW as the bomb explodes and you're standing on top of the thing, you're doing the spell as you're falling down, and you save a couple of seconds. Bonnaroo, that's it. Thanks, Goldfish. For this seed, I didn't want to make us run all the way to Lake Hylia and back, so I turned on the setting Free Scarecrow Song, which is not on for the Scrubs seeds, but just by pulling your ocarina right here, our buddy Pierre spawns. So there is a way to get up to this platform over here using just long shot. It's called Pixel Shot. It's very precise, not a beginner-friendly trick. If you want to learn it, there's a couple really good tutorials on YouTube. Go look them up, but I'm not going to be showing it today. I've never been able to do it myself. But everybody at some point will not confirm Scarecrow's Song before coming to fire and then regret it. I just want to pause quickly. See, there's a line here. I think you can see my cursor, right? When the elevator reaches this line, I'm going to jump, and I'll be able to save like half a second or something getting through the door. Oh, I jumped a little too soon. There's no point in hookshotting that skull. If you want to get it while you're climbing. So this room, the intended strat, I think, is to use the long shot to grab that target there and then run over there. I don't have the long shot. Also, precise aiming is a little hard for me, so I have a setup instead. I will aim roughly toward the top of the hill. It doesn't need to be very precise. And then backwalk onto this switch. Then I can turn. Backwalk, and then do some side hops. Yeah, I think Felix, they intended you to backtrack. Oh, I was a little bit slow there. That's okay, I can show it off again. So yeah, just aim toward the top of the hill. There's definitely some intended backtracking in this game. Yeah, it's definitely doable, but it's not fun. Boss key? Small key. Alright, so once again we're bailed out by Pierre. So to move on, we're gonna fall. I don't recommend taking the elevator back down. It's pretty easy to fall off the elevator and wind up on the bottom of the maze. On the other hand, it's super easy to just get out of here. I jump off and don't hold forward. Don't hold forward. Just as soon as you jump, let go of all direction and you land right there. There is another slightly safer way to do it. It takes a little longer. From here, I'll target this wall, jump off, and here you can hold forward as much as you want. And you land right by this door. Both of those work. I recommend either of those over taking the elevator back down. It's slower, and it is, like I say, it's possible to fall off and wind up at the bottom of the maze and have to go all the way around the loop again. So, that is my recommendation. I will show you, I'm going to come through here all the way, and then come back from the top of the maze, just to show one little thing with one of those bubbles. See, there's another one somewhere around here. There he is. How to avoid that one if you're coming from over here. So these guys are such a pain. With this one, you want to stay, again, far left. Whoops, that was too far left. I'm going to try again. Oh no! How will I get out of here? But yeah, if you stay further to the left, it won't knock you out of midair. I stayed a little bit too far to the left that time, but they're avoidable because they are consistent. They're always going to spawn at the same spot. If you do a jump slash here too, you get a little bit further. Yeah, so just by staying to the left, if you jump further from the right of the platform, it might knock you down into the lava, slow you down a little bit. So if you've been counting keys, I don't know if you have or not, Fire Temple has 8 small keys and 1 boss key. It also has 6 items. So far we found 5 items. We got Neighbor's Love, we got Ice Arrows, we got the Winter Heart piece, we got Kakiri Sword, we got the Stone of Agony. So what's left is 2 small keys, a boss key, and an item. We have 4 checks left. One of those is on Volvaggi. We know that's not going to be the boss key, but it could be one of the small keys, or it could be the item. So at this point, if I'm clearing Fire Temple, I'm going to full clear it. I want to know that I'm not leaving something behind if I go all the way down and fight Volvaggia and I just get a small key and I know there's an item up here somewhere. It's going to be on the back of my mind for the rest of the seed. So coming into this room, we have 2 options, if we have the hover boots. Using the hovers, it is in logic to come over here and then open this door with the handle. However, you should not do this first. If you do this first, it's really difficult to get back to do the compass. Slower. So if you're going to go that route, I recommend coming and doing the compass chest first and then backtracking over there. However, that's only really going to be relevant if you don't have Song of Time and if you're in a hurry to get out of Fire Temple. My preferred method here, and I think what most runners will do at this point, is to do first the hammer chest and then the highest Goron. You can do the highest Goron first. I'm just going to set a save state here so I can show this a few times. And it's very, very easy to get past this firewall. We just want to target the wall here, turn left, and backwalk. No problem. See that again? Target the wall, turn left, I got hit, and backwalk. If you fail this, it's probably because you're starting too far to the right. If the firewall is already spawned when you start your backwalk, then it's not going to work. If it spawns early in your backwalk, you might get hit and knocked down. If you start further over here, this friggin' boulder. If you start further over to the left, you'll be at full speed by the time you reach the firewall. It won't even knock you down. So this leads to the highest Goron. If you have Song of Time, you can do it this way. If you don't have Song of Time, then you're going to have to use an alternative route. So my preference, again, is to do the hammer first and then the highest Goron. Unless, for instance, if Fire is Foolish or if I'm in Go mode, it is faster to do this check first and then the other check later. It takes longer, but if it's nothing, then it doesn't really matter. So your mileage may vary, sort of it's contextual, but if you're aiming to full clear, it is more efficient to do hammer than highest Goron. So we can also get past this firewall here using exactly the same setup. Target the wall, turn left, backwalk. Bada boom. No problem. Last firewall here we're going to need a damage boost through. So I'll target this wall, turn right. I'm going to hold this angle. Hold and Z, whatever. Run into the firewall here, and while I have the invulnerability frames, I want to backflip. So, that is pretty easy, and it's pretty quick to repeat if you fail, so I recommend checking that out, trying that strat. These pots here have guaranteed bomb drops if you're running low, and a funny little thing about this door here, if you try to open it while the wall explodes, oh dang it, I gotta go back. I gotta show this off. We're gonna get to see getting past the firewall again. Get through this firewall. Get through that firewall. Target the wall here. Get hit and then backflip. So if you try to open this door, and then the bomb explodes behind it, the door stays there, and you can still interact with it. It serves absolutely no purpose, you can walk right through it. Looks kind of funny, just wanted to show that off. Alright, Flare Dancer again. We could do it exactly the same way as we did last time. However, I do want to show an alternative strategy. It is possible to find the hammer at the top of Fire. That's where it is in the vanilla game, after all. So you could be in this fight without a hammer. If that's the case, you can hookshot this guy, and then crouch stab him. As soon as this fight ends, I'm going to want to grab the side of the platform, because that'll start the elevator. And I'll save a little bit of time. So I grab it, and I can climb it during the cutscene. If you happen to grab it and then fall off, the elevator will go up without you. And at that point, I think the fastest thing to do is to leave the room and enter again rather than wait for the elevator to come back down. Alright, so we're almost at the top. If you're... Whoops. I've been messing that one up lately. I'll try that again. If you're climbing that chain wall while the switch is hit by a bomb, then you'll keep climbing during the cutscene. So you want to drop the bomb and then quickly make your way onto the wall. And you see he continues to climb as the cutscene plays. And that gives you plenty of time to get over here and climb up. So just 2 checks left plus the boss. We're really getting through. Getting to the hammer can be difficult for some people. It's kind of precise. It's a narrow ledge at some places. If you have the hover boots, that can make it a little easier. Makes it a little bit more lenient near the edges. You know, if you go off the side a little bit, you can get back on. It's not a big deal. And you see you can still make it here in plenty of time without doing really any rolling. One other thing that I recommend is getting a good angle to start. So the angle that the camera is facing after the little cutscene plays is going to depend on your angle when you hit the switch. So to get like a straight shot so that you're ready to start running right away without doing any positioning, what I do is I climb the wall here and then I hold up and right. So Link is facing the way that I want him to be, and then I side hop onto the switch. And you'll see after this cutscene plays, I can just hold forward. I'm going the right way. This is something that definitely, like, you benefit from a bit of practice, but as you can see, I can do it on a computer keyboard where, like, I'm pretty limited in the angles and all this kind of thing, so if I can do it, you can do it. So from here, we're going to want to fall, and if you don't have Song of Time, it's really important that you fall in the right way. I have a setup. I'm going to make a little save state here. I have a setup that I used to use. I don't use it anymore, but if you want it, here it is. I take out the hook shot and I aim left until I see the red dot appear. That's the angle I want. I'll do a couple of side hops and a side roll, and then jump, and I'm holding left in midair, so that I land right here next to this thing. So I'll show that again. With your back against the chest, aim left until you see the little red dot show up, 2 side hops and a side roll, jump off and hold left, and you land right on top of this Song of Time block. If you're just more confident with eyeballing it, you can just roll forward, hold up left, and jump. Again, you want to hold left in the air, and you land right here. You can jump slash that through the block easily enough, and that trick is also in Logic. Not in League settings, I know it's not, but for Scrub settings it should be, and this has to be the boss key. There was nowhere left for it to be. So at this point, save warping is probably your fastest bet. However, if you've already played Song of Time and the block is down, for instance, if you did this from below, and especially if you're playing on Wii with the slow reset times, I think it's faster. Oh, it's on the other side. Shows you how often I do this. I think it's actually faster if the block is down for Wii VC players to come out here and knock this pillar down. Maybe faster on emulator if the Song of Time block is already down. I haven't timed it, but this is definitely an option. So now we're ready to go and see the boss. If you want, you can grab a fairy. There are fairies and bombs over here. So there's 2 guaranteed fairies and 2 guaranteed bomb drops. These 2 pots are bombs, and the other ones are fairies. So just before we go into fight Volvagia, I want to show how to get to Volvagia if you don't happen to have the hover boots. There's like a million different setups for this. I'll show you the one that I prefer. I'm also going to just quickly put a link in the chat. This is a video by Melrose. Sorry, when I type, I also play. Enter pauses, it lets me chat. So that's a video by Melrose that shows, I think, like 8 or 9 different setups to do this jump. The best setup is the one that you can get consistently. I'll show you my preferred setup. This is the one that I think is the easiest. Make a little save state here. I get in this corner. I shield turn right. So to shield turn, you hold shield, you hold right, and you let go of shield just for a frame. That lets you turn without moving. So getting right in this corner, shield turn right, come on. And then I target and press up and A. I didn't do it. I pressed late, I guess. So right in the corner, shield turn, up and A. Now I moved on that shield turn. I swear I never have any problems with this. You want to press up and A on the same frame. You can buffer that if you want, if you find you're not getting them together. Yeah, up and A on the same frame, that gets you over here no problem. Of course, if you have hovers, it's no problem to get across like that. But yeah, like there's so many different setups for this jump. Find something that works for you. Find something that's consistent for you. Make one last save state here. We're ready to fight Volvagia. So there are like many different ways to fight Volvagia depending on the equipment that you have. There are like 30-minute long YouTube tutorials on this boss fighting. Like, you can spend a lot of time on getting good at this boss. I think something that's good for beginners to know though is even if you don't get the quick kill perfectly, you're still gonna speed up the boss fight in most cases. So I'm just gonna pause once this cutscene is over. So, the secret to this fight is that there's two Volvagias. There's the one that flies around and there's one that's underneath the ground and comes up and blows fire at you. Right now it's in this hole, the hole right in front of Link, because that's where it flew down. If it comes up and flies around and lands in another hole, it'll be in that hole then. We can damage it while it's underground by using bombs or bomb chews. So I want to drop some bombs. I can't drop it just anywhere in the hole. It's a little bit off-centered. So like toward the bottom left of the hole is the best place to drop the bombs. If you're fighting with Master Sword, you're going to need to damage it with 7 bombs before you can kill Volvagia. If you have Big Goron Sword, I think it's 5. I've never been 100% sure about this. And we're going to drop them in patterns of 1, and then we're going to crouch stab Volvagia, then 3, then crouch stab, then 3 more, and we'll be ready to defeat the dragon. So hopefully I can get this first try, otherwise I'll look like not much of a teacher. Let's see how we do. Alright, so you see I dropped it not even in the hole, but a little off-center. And we can pull bombs a little before we're ready to drop them. And you'll know you got it if you hear that sound effect. Oh. I got trolled. We're going to try again. Volvagia coming out of that hole is not ideal. You can still do it. I just didn't do it very well there. It's still very much doable. It makes it a lot more complicated. You'll be able to tell if the bomb hit because you'll hear Volvagia make that sound that it makes when it gets hit. If you miss, then you won't hear that sound. You'll just hear an explosion. So right away I pull a bomb. Yeah, you can hear the sound of damage. You can hear it again. And you can crouch stab. You can use the hammer. Because I jump slash into this fight with the hammer, see I missed one there, so I need to catch up. Alright, so this should work. Yeah, there we go. So this is a fight that definitely rewards practice. Doing it many times, over and over until you're getting it somewhat consistently, because yeah, it's not something that you're gonna get the first time probably. I do want to show also how it goes with bomb shoes, and I'm gonna equip the Big Goron Sword. So one thing I always do coming into this fight is I pull the hammer and I jump slash. So now when I crouch stab Volvagia, I'm doing hammer damage, and hammer damage is required to defeat Volvagia, or to stun Volvagia. So by storing that, I can crouch stab and do that damage without having to swing the hammer, which takes longer. It's a longer animation, so it's good to have that value stored. With bomb shoes, it works just the same. We want to hit that same spot. I move like a little over here. Oh, of course I'm going to hit the roll. I don't know if I've ever gotten this while she was dead. Alright, let's see if we got it. Uh-oh. Not going well. I think this should work. Oh, I didn't do enough. I usually don't do this fight with bomb chews, and that was... The troll hole is no good. When it comes out of there, I'm not actually sure what to do with bomb chews. I know how to handle that with bombs, but... I was one short, eh? I thought you only needed 7 with the big Goron sword. Maybe I was missing on a couple of them with the troll hole. So we'll see if I get a better spawn this time. So that was 9. That should be plenty. Alright. And then you gotta do the jump slash. Come on. There we go. So, like I said, we could spend a long time going over this fight, the different possible permutations of, do you have Master Sword or Big Goron Sword? Are you using bombs or bomb chews? Like, there's a lot that can go into it, but the best thing that you can do for this fight is practice. There are some great tutorials specifically focused on this boss already. No need for me to like reinvent the wheel. But oh, ice arrows! I've never actually used ice arrows against Volvagia. So we came all the way through Fire Temple. There's our reward. I think it was worth the journey. Is there a trick to using ice arrows? Like I know it does more damage. Here, let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. We'll see what it's like. All right. So for ice arrows to be relevant, we're gonna have to not do the quick kill. O does 1, ice does 2 or 4. I'm getting conflicting information in chat here. Okay, so we're gonna have to let Volvagia fly. That doesn't mean that we can't do some damage with the bomb. So this is what I was mentioning before. Even if you mess up the quick kill, you're still doing damage to Volvagia. We're still damaging. So now she's gonna fly because I'm not gonna stun her yet. Now, will I be able to aim well enough? I think I got at least 1 in there. I don't want to... I have a fairy. I don't want to deal with it. So this should do it. Yeah, so that definitely sped up the fight. Yeah, so if you miss, you can shoot Volvagia. It does some damage, and yeah, ice arrows. So that does 4 damage, eh? Interesting. I've never actually tried to mess around with ice arrows on Volvagia. There is a use for at least one of the beam items that we found. So that's about it for the Fire Temple. If anybody has any questions, things you'd like me to go over again, I do have some save states spaced throughout the temple. I could go back and take a look. Otherwise, I hope that this has been useful for people. Fire's a really fun dungeon. I think it has a bad reputation. I think it's really interesting that it's a dungeon that you can bail at multiple different spots along the way. And so, you can take a risk, you can play conservatively, you can try to guess what your opponent's going to do. It allows for a lot of metagaming and strategy that where other dungeons you just got to clear the whole thing. I don't know. I think Fire is one of the most interesting dungeons in Rando because there's no other dungeon quite like it where it's linear. every locked door is behind another locked door. But also, you can just find the boss key and leave, like, at any point. So it's sort of a mix of the best and worst things about every other kind of dungeon. Yeah, and you can get punished for whatever decision you make, whether you full clear and you find nothing, or you bail and, hey, your go mode item was all the way at the top there. Alright, so I think that's going to do it for me for today. So next week we're going to be back, Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be looking at the trials, and we're going to spend a good amount of time going over the Ganondorf and Ganon fights, which I feel like for a lot of beginners are really tricky fights. So hopefully I'll see some of you folks back next week. Hopefully today's stream was useful. It's going to go up on YouTube sometime in the next day or so. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Take care, everybody.